So I get to speak with a bunch of clinics all over the world, and last week I spoke with two clinic owners. One being 33 years in practice, and he said that he still takes the clinic home with him every single night. He was stuck in it. Another clinic owner said he went on a 2-week vacation, came back, and his schedule had quietly dried up. And he was saying now that he feels like he's in a job, just with more stress and more things going on, which I completely get, and I don't want the same for you. So what I'm going to do is walk you through how we can flip the model, which a lot of people think of this, so then we can make sure that you don't make the same mistake in your practice, because I already know that you've had these ups and downs anyway, being that you've gone from loads of people coming in, and that's going to be whether it's through referrals or anything like that. You're like, this is great, and I'm going to start thinking about getting an associate on board. And then literally next month you could be there thinking, man, how am I going to make payroll this month? I get it, I know what it's like. But it's in these moments then a lot of people think, I'm going to get an associate because that's going to be better. And we just need to flip the model. So I'm going to show you how you can flip the model, and then how you can start getting more people in so you can hire associates, grow, and you're not stuck in the business. Again, I get to see this from like the hundreds of clinic owners that I work with around the world, and that's just what I want to help you with. So if you want my help as well doing the same thing, just go to the link in the description. So first up, what is the flip that we need to do? So the way which I look at this is we've got clinicians who are great at what they do. This is why they go and set up their own clinic, right? So they're great at what you do. So then you could treat with your eyes shut. But there's 3 parts of business: marketing, sales, and delivery. A lot of people will then hand off delivery, being get an associate on board, even though that's the easiest thing for them, because they see it's the easiest thing. I can hand that off, I can train and teach people. But if you are stuck relying on referrals and word of mouth, then a lot of people are coming in to see you. So then it's harder to get those people in from referrals to see an associate. Therefore, your associate is never going to get full. They're going to either get pissed off and walk away because you're not filling their pipeline, or you're going to have to let them go because you're not filling their pipeline. Either way, it doesn't work out. So instead, we've got to flip the script. A lot of people will then think, cool, what I'll do is hand off marketing. So we got marketing, sales, delivery, because they don't know anything about marketing. Most people never hand off sales, which again, it doesn't make sense why you would hand off anything. But most people will then hand off marketing. They then don't know anything about marketing, hand it off to an agency. The agency then doesn't work out, as it typically doesn't. With this, I get to see it's from hundreds of clinics around the world. People have gone through then 5 agencies. Rich, I think, went through 8 agencies in like a short time frame. And then they're like, this is really annoying that I can't fill the pipeline and I can't get people into my clinic and fill my associate schedule. Yes, it's exactly because you are handing off the thing that you should own first. So this is just where we need to flip the script on the order what we do. So a lot of people will hand off delivery first, get an associate, and then get a marketing agency to do that. So then whether they're doing the sales or their associates doing the sales, instead we need to flip it around, and you need to own the marketing first of all. Because once you own the marketing, then we need to fill the pipeline, and then you can hand off. Because then once you've filled the pipeline with new people coming in who aren't going to be from referrals, then you can get an associate on board, because you know you can consistently get new people in, which is going to consistently fill their schedule. That is then how we need to make this work. So let's go through the order, and what I'm going to show you how you can set this up instead, and get out of the agency trap and just start doing this. So here's the setup which a lot of people will do, which is they open clinic. So I'm just going to do this here. So first up, they open the clinic and they get busy, whether they brought these clients across from where they were previously practicing. So busy owner, which is great. So we have a new clinic which is busy. So secondly, what a lot of people do is then they get an associate on board, because they think, cool, I'm busy, I'm seeing 50 people per week as a physio. Then they think, cool, I'm going to be able to get an associate on board because I can't handle any more people in. That associate will be able to get these people. But we already know that referrals don't really go to an associate, therefore it's going to be hard. You can't help them out because you don't know anything about marketing, therefore they're not ever going to get busy. And you're like, maybe it's just a bad associate. It's not at all. Secondly, it's a really hard sell to get an associate on board when you don't know, you've not got a full pipeline to give to them. Sure, you can say, I'm busy, I'm seeing 50 people per week, but that is you. You are the one who set up the business. People always want to go to the owner. Same as then the associate will struggle to get people in if you are just stuck relying on word of mouth and referrals. So in this situation, then what a lot of people do, they go to step 3. They get a marketing agency. Because they think, oh, getting an agency will be able to fill the flow for the associate. Most of the time they get an agency, but they have no idea what to measure an agency by. And also the agency barely ever works out. Honestly, I speak with hundreds of clinic owners, as you know, and the agencies just don't work out. The model just doesn't work. The math doesn't work. The model doesn't work. People get annoyed with it all the time. So this is where people go and try an agency and then come back to me if you want to do that first of all. I just know it doesn't work. So people get an agency, but they get an agency on board when they don't know what they're trying to measure the agency against, or what success looks like, or how much it should cost them to get a new client and things like that. Therefore, they're going to be annoyed. But also, that agency, I'm just going to show you the math, which I've already been through many times. But let's say that agency is going to be 3K per month. So then with that, let's say your initial consultation, let's just make it easy, is $100. Then we're going to need 30 people per month just to break even on your agency fees, let alone ad spend on top of that. That's a big ask, okay? Let's say it costs you $50 to even acquire a customer, which would be great, which would be a great ROAS, like 2x ROAS on initial consultation. So that would be absolutely amazing. We've still got to add that on top. That's why it never works out. So you go through one agency, you're like, oh, this isn't working out, go to another agency. It just doesn't work, flat out. Secondly, you can leave me on a rant. With AI, we don't need it these days. You honestly don't need it. Anyway, this is why this then never works. So then the associate leaves, they say, let's cross them out, because they're not getting enough people, so they go. So you're like, maybe I'm back to myself. This is then how we end up in the cycle for the next however many years. Instead, let's flip it round. So instead of this, let's do it in a nice green as well. So instead, clinic owner opens clinic. Great. Now, first step is to own the flow. If you can read that, let me get a darker pen for it. So we need to own the flow. We need to control the marketing. We can't just rely on word of mouth, referrals, cross your fingers to do that. So this is still you in practice. Flip it round on how people do it. Get this set up first of all, even if you're already at 50 people per week. Awesome. We need to just increase this. We're going to have to limit referrals and things like that, put them on a waiting list, whatever it is. Referrals will wait longer. Own the flow. You can't get referrals in as easy. You've already experienced that. Secondly, then after we've owned the flow, we need to fill your pipeline. So what we need to do is to run this until this is surplus. Again, what a lot of people do is have one good month of referrals and they're like, I'm going to get an associate. Run this until it's full. Like, have a surplus of people coming in and you're booking 2-3 weeks out. That's then when we can start thinking about hiring into demand, which is the key part. Hire to demand. You know as well as I do, every clinician, new grad, whoever you hire, wants to be busy. They want people in. When I worked in clinic, I was the marketing manager. So my role was to fill the pipeline. This was my role. So how attractive was that as the clinic which I worked at, that a new grad coming in, as an example, straight out of college, and they're like, cool, you're going to come in and we can give you, you're going to be seeing 10 new clients every single week. Just you. You're going to be doing 100 adjustments every single week. Just you. That's great. Like, they are straight into that and they are straight into being busy, which is what they want to do. is much easier to hire based upon that. You're going to get way better people and better choice rather than saying, oh, you've got to build up your schedule, you've got to try and get your people in. That's really hard. Hire into demand, have a full pipeline. You're going to get the best pick of the people. Therefore, then you can just run the engine. Run the system, run the machine. Because now you have this full working pipeline that you have an associate on board, you've hired into demand, you have a machine that is running that fills your pipeline because you know how it works, so you know the whole system, the whole flow, how to get these clients coming in. Therefore, now you can go on holiday, you can go on vacation without worrying about your pipeline drying up because you own a whole system. That's it. You'll not hand it off or anything like that. You've got someone actually delivering on the demand that you've already created. That's how we just work this. So then, how do we create that flow? That's the key part of this, is own the flow. How do you create that flow? I always say to every clinic owner which I speak with, every clinician is very passionate about what they do. So I always say, if I could put you on a stage in front of 50,000 people and you can talk about your business, your clinic, your clinical skills, how you can help people, what you can do, would you do it? And bear in mind, these are your ideal people. They live very close to your clinic. Would you go on stage and do that? Most people are like, hell yeah, I'd do that. Great, welcome to Facebook ads. That's it. The reason people suck at Facebook ads is because they do not know how to do it, or when they do it, they get an agency on board, they hand off something which they don't know, and therefore they deliver something which, quite frankly, they've got no idea about as well. Again, with AI, we don't need to spend this 3K per month or anything like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Instead, click the link in the description. I'm going to show you how we can get that set up in your clinic so you don't need to use an agency. And how you can then finally break free of having these up and down months in your clinic so you can actually hire to demand. Click the link and I'll show you how we can get that set up.